Hello everyone and welcome to Python from Zero. I'm Wedad Anbtawi. I am the organizer of this workshop and the set of data science workshops hosted by FruitPunch AI and JADS. I am doing professional doctorate in engineering of data science at JADS under TUE in the Netherlands. I'm also one of the education team in FruitPunch AI. So for today, I will explain the basics behind Python coding. And I'm expecting you don't know about programming languages because some concepts are same as other programming languages except the exercises of coding. Because for each concept, we will have an exercise and a coding part. So if you already know programming language, so some topics will be boring for you, but I'm expecting in this workshop, no knowledge of Python, no knowledge of programming at all. So to start, we will start with the first basic of Python and any programming language, which is why you need this language. What's the difference between other languages? And here I put difference between two languages, Java and Python. I used Java before and it was normal for me because I didn't know about Python. But when I saw in Java, if you want to only print a statement, you need all this block. And in Python, if you want to print only, you should call the print function with the argument of the statement, which is only one line. And it's not only this example. We have many other functions, many other libraries, which means Python is much easier to use than not only Java. We can see C, C++, and other programming languages. And also why we want to use Python. It's also used by big companies like Google, Instagram. Also in the Netherlands, many companies are switching to Python. And the requirements for a job, if you know Python, it's a plus. It's not you need to be data scientist to only know Python or R. So we can say it's one of the top programming languages. So now I will explain the first concept, which is variables. So variables, it's I will start from the example to explain it. So if we say in the programming x equal to y equals 3.1. So in memory itself, you have this block, blue block as memory. First one is named x, second one is named y, and given that data values 2 and 3.1. So that's variables. Variables to give name for the memory location and give it data value. And after we know what is variable, we need to know how to name the variables. I name it their x and y, but you can name it any. And it's better if you name it something with meaning, because you are not the only one who is reading your code, except if you are doing practice. But you will be lost if you name ABC and then you want to read your code after a week or a month. But for the rules, which Python will complain if you don't follow it, you should start the naming with letter or underscore. You are not allowed to start with number. And also the name should only contain letters, numbers, underscore. So no hashtag is allowed, no dot is allowed. And also we have case sensitivity. So don't expect the first cat to be same as the second cat. Because if you have capital in one name, you cannot assume it can be lower also. Python will complain. So an example of good names like color, good code, we have only letters there and underscore, but bad two name, which start with number, which is bad, and Python will not allow it. Hashtag color, It starts with hashtag, and it also contains special character, which is hashtag. Also, Python will complain about it. So try like choose a name from those rules, and also try to get something like with meaning. Like if, for example, I want to name a variable for time x, it will not make much sense. And we still have one rule, but I will explain it later. And guys, if you have any question, please put it in the chat, so I can like read the question and I can answer it. And you can stop me in any slide, because like some topics may be complicated a bit. So I want to jump into numeric expressions, because like I said, like x equal 2, but sometimes you have that big numeric expression and you need to use it, especially if you want to get the mathematical equations from papers to coding. So we have normal one as papers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, almost same shape. But for power, for example, we need 2 stars. So if you want 4 power 2, you cannot do it as a papers like 2 above. So you should do 2 stars. And also like in Python, we have function which is related to power, and you can compute it, but like simplest one is 2 stars. And also if you want to calculate remainder and modulo, which depends on the mathematical equation you want to do, you need like the percentage sign. And like by remainder, I meant like if you want a remainder of division from 42 and 10, for example, you put 42 percentage 10 and you will get 2. So now into what you need to know about Python, what Python always complain about. And also I will explain the one extra rule I said about variable names. So first we need indentation. So some programming language don't complain about indentation if you miss it, but in Python, if you miss it, it's like disaster. Sometimes like a Python can say, I cannot understand this part, but it's only an indentation problem. So by indentation, I meant like here, for example, in this, when you put same, they are in the same like column, it means they are, for example, in the same room. So whenever you do indentation, you are giving a new room. So here like X, Y, and the F statement are, for example, in a big room. And when you do indentation, anything same as indentation before going out is another room. So X and print X are in the same room. And you cannot expect like if you don't enter this room, it will read one of them. It will not. Because like a Python, you don't have start and end for functions, for conditions or loop as other languages. So indentation for it, it's to end or open new room. And also we don't need like to have at the end any special character. Some languages need like comma at the end to know like this line ends, some semicolon, but here like no, you don't need. It's like new line, that's it. Also for comments, some may prefer not to write comments, but you will get into it like you want others to understand your code if it is complex, and also you want yourself to remember the code. So sometimes you need to write comments like it will not be executed in Python. It will be like only as sentence for yourself. So you should start with hashtag and sentence. So whatever after that hashtag will not processed on Python. It will be like as a note for yourself. Also, we have the plus. I said before it's addition, but it's numeric addition for numbers. So if you put it for strings, for example, here we have hello guys, it will concatenate the 2 strings. So it will merge them into one sentence. So this part, like I will explain those examples and then go back to this part. So here, like, I have x equal 1 plus 2, which is 3, and y equal hello guys, which is hello plus guys, it will be hello guys. And here I have condition statement. I will go into condition statements after this, but till now, like, you don't need to know it exactly, but it's like, it will check if x equals 3, and we have 1 plus 2, which is 3. So it will enter it. We have x equal 1, and it will print x. So we are expecting the output to be 1. It will print 1. Okay, but here, it will check the condition. It will do it x equal 1 if it applies for condition, and print x. Assume that x is not 3. For example, it's 2. So here it will not enter the condition. It will not enter this room. So nothing will be printed because print x is in the new room, which door is closed. But here, like, okay, the new room is closed, but print x is in the big room, which will print x, although the condition may not apply. So you should, like, focus a lot on the indentation. You may do some mistakes with indentation, like for now, till now, sometimes I do mistakes, especially don't mix between tabs and space, because tabs on some softwares are like 4 spaces. So if you do like tab, it's indentation, and you do plus 2 spaces, sometimes it will not consider it as second indentation, and it will complain like, I don't know what's happening, and expect from Python errors that I don't know what's it. And maybe you want to Google it with no answer. You should try. And the part that I said I will skip it is the reserved words. So reserved words in any programming language is a word that's it's functioned for something. Like, for example, in Python, we have 2 calls are reserved words. Already Python know what they are. But if you name it for any value, any variable, it will complain. Like if you say true equal 1, it will say like, okay, I know true, what is it? But why is it like variable name? I cannot put it as a location variable. So it will complain. So you should like also check if it is if the name you are putting is reserved word, because it will not work. And some of the reserved words we have like false, we have class, we have while loop. If you want like for loops, you need while. For that, what Python will understand as they own that word, so you cannot use it. So take like if you sometimes like you use a variable name without knowing that it is reserved word, you should check it, because sometimes it will say error without saying like it is, you cannot use it or something. So guys, if for now you have any question about variables, please let me know, because we will start with data types, and then we will go into a coding exercise. So for data types, it is like on mathematics, like you have different types of, like we have numbers, we have decimals, and also like in data types you have boolean, which is true or false, str, which stands for string, any sentence, list, if you want like the variable not only to save one value, it can save list of values. Also dictionary, if like for example here we have ages, so we have Alex 32 and we have John, and his age is 20. So whenever I want like the age of Alex, I put only like the dictionary name dot Alex, and it will get me like only to call Alex, it will get me the values for that person. Also I can put like Alex 32 comma female, so I can assign that key to list, not only one value, so I can get more info. And for this dictionary, I have a coding example, but it will be at the end, which will explain it more. And you have more data types. But why do we need data types? So on other language, you need to put, for example, you need to put integer x equal 1. Not like only x equal 1, because programming languages will not understand like if you want it as integer or something else. In Python, it will know which type. Like if you put it x equal 1, it will know it's int. If you put it x equal 1.2, it's float. So it will work how you do after equal. Equal is always like you are assigning value. It will check the value you are putting. And this may be confusing for Python, because if you put like x equal 1 and you are expecting it as string, it will not work. You should convert it. And okay, going from the example of like expecting a string from 1, you cannot add number with string. You cannot put like a string hello plus 1. You cannot add int with string. We said before you can add numbers, you can merge strings together, but not numbers. And to make sure like what is the type, you need to use a function type. So for example, x equal 1, if you put it x of a type of x, so type parenthesis x, it will give you int. And in case you really insist you want to put hello plus 1, you need to convert 1 into string. So you use function str. So you put like hello plus str 1, which will say like 1 will be string. It will not be int anymore. And we have also int and float function to convert. But never try to convert any string with only letters to int and float. Like you can convert if string is like 1 to 3, but it's considered string. You can convert it to float or int, but you cannot convert like sentence hello to int and float. It will not know how to convert it to numbers. So as an example of data types, as I see it, like you have this jars, and data types are jars. So for example, this jar is for int, so any variable of int type will be put here. Any type of this jar, which is for example float, so 1.2 will be put here. That's how like data types I think of it. It's like jars and like different ones. And before going to exercise, we have one function it's useful to use, which is input. Input like expecting from user values. So you are asking the user always by just saying input, and you can do it without an argument like input parentheses that. But it will be a bit annoying because it's pop-up. So assume like you are getting pop-up with empty field without knowing what you should enter. So it's a bit annoying. So for example, here I put the message, who are you? So it will do a pop-up and we will look into it. Who are you? And when I enter my name, that name will be saved on the names as a string, not like if I enter 35, it will do it as string, not as int. And when I do print, it will say hello and my name, which is assigned from this input. So it will say this one. And here by comma, we can use it instead of plus to concatenate also strings. And also it will work if you put hello, comma, 35 as number, not as like plus. Plus will not work, but comma will work. So as first exercise, you have a minute to try it. I'm not sure if you guys downloaded Anaconda Interpreter. If not, please go into Google Colab, because it has online notebook and it's easy to use. And try to create two inputs asking for your name, your age, add one to your age, and print it with comments. And try to put it as one sentence, like, hello, I'm Wedad, and I am 26 years old, after adding one. So please try it. You have a minute, and in case you have problem in the code, or you didn't install Anaconda and you want to use Google Colab, please let me know. Okay, so now I will go into the coding. So I will show you what is maybe good example of good solution. So first I need to create two inputs, one asking for my name. So I'll put a comment, although it will not be necessary. So it will be asked for name equal input. And I will show you if you put it empty. So it will show like this. Maybe if you use another browser, or you use Jupyter, for example, it will be pop-up message, not like this one. So I can consider this one, but I don't want this. What is your name? I can stop it. Okay, so here I enter my name. Okay, then I have the age, which is input. What is your age? And also, like, I will put 25. Okay, so now I want to add one, which is task 2, to my age. It will not work, because as you remember, I said, like, any output from the input, it will be string, it will not be number, although I entered 25. So what I can do, because it's 25, it doesn't contain letters, I can convert it to int by putting like int function and put the value inside it. So by this, it will work. And to make sure you can get the type for age, if you want to make sure that it's really int now. So it's int. Now I have part 3, which is print. And I will show you one, I consider it bad example of it, bad practice, and one which is fine. So for example, someone will do print my name is okay, so I say my name is, and I put name, and I do another print for my age. Age. Okay, this one print what I want, but it's not good use, because like if you look, it consumed 2 lines. You call print 2 times for only 1 sentence, and you can imagine like you may have more complicated sentences, which is not good. So alternative for this one, you can print put the whole sentence together. So my name is name and another comma. So whenever you have new string, you should put comma as if it's sticking strings together. So comma or plus will work. And my age is 8. So this one work. Also alternative, but you should like make sure of it. I will copy this one. So instead of plus, I can instead of comma, I can put plus, but here I should make sure of the space. Otherwise, it will be is Wedad without space between it. Also here I need space. Here I need space, and also here if I want to do plus, I need to convert it to string, because I mentioned before, like comma has no problem with like having end, but if you want it to be plus, you need to have string. So this one will print, but I think you will prefer comma. I prefer to. That was the first exercise. If you have any question about variables, data types, input, please let me know. So maybe we can do another exercise now, or I can continue. Okay, so I'm assuming you don't have questions for now, maybe because it's still simple, and we will go to more complicated ones. So before starting with conditions and loops, we will go into logical operations, which you need to, like if you want to have conditions, that's the first basic you need to know. So yeah, I don't like, if you want to compare, you know how like greater than or equal, it needs double, otherwise it will assume it's assigning. Like if you put if x equal 1, it will assume x equal 1. It will not check if x equal 1 really. So you need double equals. If it is like less than or equal, always equal will be second one. If you have like greater than, smaller than, and here like you have smaller than, greater than as mathematical ones normally, and you have not equal, which, for example, if you put if x not equal 1 and x already like x equal 1 before, it will give you false, because x not equal 1 will not apply, x really equal 1. And sometimes like you need to combine those logical operations. Otherwise, like if you need to know a number, if it is less than 0 and like, but less than 0 but more than -1, so it's like in between -1 and 0. So one of the methods you can do, like you can check first if it is less than 0, and then you check, like you do if x less than 0, and then inside it you do if x is greater than -1. So you consumed already 2 if statements. So we have here a combination option, which you can put like and or not. Not really like combination. It's only converting your result. So for example, and is always the one who needs everything to be true. Otherwise, it will be false. And or it's the one which is flexible, and you can have 10 false and 1 true, and it will take it true. So at least 1 true, it will work for it. So for example, here I have 2 greater than 1 and 3 less than 4. Both are true. So, and will not complain. Both are true, it's fine. But the second one, like 2 greater than 1, 3 greater than 4, it will say like, okay, one is true, but the second one is false, and I will not accept it. That's the AND, which is strict one. For OR, we have example like 1 = 1, which is true. 3 greater than 4, which is false. But it will say, okay, it's fine, 1 is true, so it's true. For not, it's converting what you have, true or false. So not a true is false. And here we have an example like 2 greater than or equal 1. Yes, 2 is greater than 1, which is true. But when you put not, it will be false. I'm not sure if it was complicated. Please let me know, because we will use those conditions on some of the exercises. So to start with conditions, which is I already gave some examples of it, which is if. And it is like the real life. You always ask yourself, if this happen, I will do this. If not, I will do this. So Python is like, and any programming language is like what you want, but you want to translate it to the language, the language like computer can understand. So we have here, if will be first one, you need the condition. If it is true, do plan A. If it is false, do plan B. And in code, like I did pseudocode here, not really a code. So you start with if, and then you put condition. If it applies, so it will go into the room of the true, and it will do plan A. Plan A can be anything, can be assigning new values, can be printing. So you decide according to what you need from the exercise. And you can put if alone, so you don't need false. You don't need always plan B. Sometimes like, if this happen, okay, go plan A. But that's it. So that will be the simplest condition, only if. But if you have true, false, you have plans, you need else. So you put else without any condition, because it's assuming the first one is false. If the first one is false, so do plan B. And as the first part, it depends what you want. You can print, you can assign values, add values. So a real life example can be, I have the condition, check if x = 1. If it is true, print yes. If it is false, print no. So as coding part, I have x = 2. If, and the condition is x = 1, you don't really need the parentheses. You can put it without parentheses. And if it applies, print yes. Else, print no. So can you guess what it will print? Okay, so I will go from that. So I have x = 2. So condition of x = 1 will be false. So I will go that way, the third one. So it will print no. So the output will be no for that part. But if you look, like I have else, if and else, and it's simple tree, it's not always simple. We have like this one, we have more complicated also. It depends what you really want and what's the exercise or condition or problem you are solving. So here, I will give example like you are driving. So you look into a street. You said like, if I have traffic on that street, we are looking into Google Maps. If there is traffic, which is condition 1, obviously like if the street is empty, which is condition 1, so go like on that street. But the street has many traffics, which means this condition of being an empty street is false. Go into another street and check again, like if it is empty or if it has traffic. So it depends like how you will switch between your plans. Plan A, plan B, plan C. Also, you can think of your life goals, like if this happen, I will do this. Else if I will do this. Else I will do this. So in coding, it will start like if this condition, do this. Else if, and it will, was simplified as elif in Python. This condition, do this. Else, assuming all the above conditions are false, do plan C. And as an example, I said before, like street, but also like you can imagine the street signs, because it's say like if you want to go left, you will end on this city. If you want to go right, you will end in this city. So it's always like from our life, our real life. So as an exercise, I have like a teacher which is grading exams, but some like gradings are numeric, and I want it as letter. I want like A, B, C, D, F. I don't want grades. So the exercise is to use if statements and else if and else to build that block of grades and try to find the letter for grade 79.5. Like I really don't know, like you can know it from your brain, but teach the code how to do it. Also, I will wait a minute and then I will show you what is a good code for it and how you can solve it. And if you have any question or you want to ask more about the exercise, please let me know so I can help and you can practice. Okay, so I will go into the exercise, but in case you need more time practicing before looking into the answer, please also let me know. Like you can drop in the chat, like please wait a bit so I can wait. Otherwise, I will start. Okay, so for me to start, like I always put grade before if statement. Otherwise, like I will like put another variable. For example, if you put f without having the variable on the condition, it will not work because it's always like f and then after it. You cannot like put f and then grade. It will not work. If you put grade and then f, grade will be executed before. So it's like sequence. You cannot jump into another cell and then do the one before it. Like in Jupyter or here, you can run cells, but if you put run all, it will be in sequence. So here I will put grade equal 79.5 and run it normally. And here it will be float, I'm sure of it. Then I have f. So I will start if it grade greater than or equal. So from the statement 90 print A. And here, like I can start from the top. In the if statement, like I can consider for A as the first option, and also I can consider for F. But it's easier, like for F, you need to check if it is less than 60, and for D, it's less than 70. It's not like for easier, it's almost same, but I will go one by one from top. So after the first condition, second one will be elif, not F again. Grade greater than or equal 80. And always for if statements or any other statements, like we will go into loops, functions, you should finish the first sentence only by this one. So you need that 2 dots to know, like, okay, I'm opening new room, as if it's a key for that room, but you don't need to close it. So also print B, and here you can, if it is entering this block, it will not enter this. Because like here, if I look, like if a grade is greater than 80, so if a grade is 91, it will enter this one also. The answer is no. If it is like entering this one, it will not enter this one. And if it didn't enter this, like if it was not applied that it is greater than 90, so it will check the other conditions. So here I have this one, and then I will almost copy paste. Otherwise, it's a lot. Okay, here I have 70, 60, C, D, and at the end, I don't need to have else condition. I only like assuming none of those conditions is true. So I'm assuming that all the grade here on this stage is less than 60. And I print F. So when I run it, it will pass 79.5 here. It will get into the first F. It's not greater than 90, so it will not pass. It will go to the second one, it will not pass. The third one, it's greater than 70, so it will be C. That's for if statements. So if you have any question about this part, about if statements, also please let me know. Because like we will go now into the loops and we will have another exercise.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Vedad. Hope you're well. I just have a question. So once we've written the script, now how do I, for example, test any number I want? Where do you you press the play button? I sort of missed that.
You can press this one or Control Enter.
Okay. And where does the result show then? Oh, yeah, it shows below. I see. Yeah, that's fine. That's great. Thank you.
Did it work?
Yeah, it works. Yes.
Okay, so now I will go. Okay, so after this, we will go into loops, which is almost same as if in part of conditions, but it's repetitive code. For example, sometimes you need to do printing 10 times, 100 times. For example, simplest one can be like print hello world 100 times. So as practice, you will do print. Your hands will be tired. The code will be full of same statement. That's why you use a loop. And sometimes in loops, you can change a bit on that statement, but it should be same concept. You don't want that repetitive code. So in loop, it's like you start, do something, and again repeat. And you have condition to stop it, otherwise it will be forever. In loops, we have two styles, which first one start with while, you have condition, and you do something. You have for loop, which go into one by one. So here you need condition, here you don't need, you need only set. So for example, if you have a set of numbers, when you do for element on that cell, on that set, it will jump one by one. So for example, I have set 1, 2, 3, and I want to read one by one. It will go like for number on 1, 2, 3. And you don't need really set. You can do it like how many iterations you want. Like for example, if you want 10 iterations, you can say like for I in that range, or from 1 to 10. So it will do 10 iterations. And you can also go into sets defined by user to work on those sets. I'm not sure if it was simple. So, but I will go into an example and I will explain it also in the coding. So for example, you have an input question. Do you want to start? And the user is saying no. So if user say no, I say try again, which is while loop. And you will assume like if user doesn't say no, it will stop. It will go into another the second block. But assuming like user always say no, it will like be forever. But assuming like no one will keep writing no, except if you have condition which is forever. If you put while it true, print this one. Never try it. Your laptop will freeze. Never try condition without another condition to break it, to stop it. That's why we have break and continue conditions. I will also go into example of it. So I'm assuming it's fine for now. I will also like try to make it simpler by coding. So as an example, it's like this play. I'm not sure if you all went to it, but I'm assuming most of you. So you first like start, and you are allowed to do a fixed number of iterations. I'm not sure how much, because sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4. So you do the 3 iterations, and then at the end, your condition is only allowed to do 3 iterations. So that guy will let you go out, which how for loop and while loop will work. You have condition, you have those 3 iterations only, and then you should go out and continue your life. So now we will go into exercise. This example is for loop. And you have a set of numbers. You need to get the largest number between them. So you can try it now for also a minute. Try by yourself. Maybe you will get many errors, but try to predict what it may be a solution. And then I will go also into what's a good practice. What this part has many practices. So I will go into different practices. Also, I will do some while loop practice. Yes, the recording will be sent with exercises and more notes. Okay, so now I will go into the code. Okay, so here I have a set. It's optional if you want to save it as variable. Sometimes I prefer to save it, but I will start the first example without it. So I say like for I, for X, for item, and that set. So I will copy paste it. And always remember you should close it. I want to find largest. So I want to assume that I already have largest called 0, because here I can see like non-negative numbers. But sometimes it's not a good idea to assume it's 0, because sometimes you may have negative numbers, and largest will be 0 if your set all negative. So largest will be 0, and 0 is not on that set. So I will say like if the new item is greater than largest, also close it. So largest equal item. So here what I'm doing, largest is 0. So if for each item on that set, I'm testing. If that item is larger than the previous largest, not only 0, save the new largest for items. So for example, I will go one by one. I went into 2. The new item is 2. 2 is greater than 0. So the new largest will be 2. I went into 50. 50 is greater than 2. So the new largest is 50. I went into 35. 35 is not greater than 50. So it will ignore it. 75 is greater than 50. So new largest will be 75. 10, which is the last element, is not greater than 75. So it will ignore it. And at the end, the largest will be, as we assume, 75. Another option to avoid having, as I said like before, if all the set is negative, you cannot assume like largest is 0, because you are giving it a number that's is not on the set. You can, for example, that list of items, I will save it into variable. You can take the first item on that list and save it as largest, and then check with other items, compare it, and save the largest one. So what I can do, I want to take the first item on list item, and you can do it by mentioning its index. So here it's the first item, but in Python it starts with 0. So this one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, but index maximum 4. And here I have 2 options. Either go into the list as normal. So I only do like this one. I put list items. List, sorry. And this one will give same value. But if you look, like we already worked on one element. We don't need like another for loop, because for loop is here you have 5 iterations. I need to minimize my complexity, because sometimes if for loop is complex, you need to use less items. So I don't need the first item. What you can do, and this option is also for string, you can do like, I want to start from the second element, which means like second, which we say like 1, because we start with 0, and go on. So you do 1, this part, this dots, and you say it's empty. The second is empty. When you say empty, you are meaning like 50, 35, 75, 10 till the end. But if you have like one, I will show you after it. So this one will be same. If I put list item 1 till 3, for example, so it will print the item in index 1, item in index 2, and 3 is excluded. Same for strings, as I mentioned, like if I have sentence equal hello world, and I want only hello, so what I can do sentence. I can put 0. I can keep it empty, but I should define where to end. Like here, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember the last number is excluded, but I need 4, so I will end it at 5, and this will print for you hello. That's you will use if you want to work with list, with string. Now I will go to an example for while. I will put as comment what we want to do. So I want input from user as numbers. So no strings are allowed except one string, which is done. So if done, exit and print the sum. So here's a problem is I want the user to enter any number, any like iterations, like he can enter the numbers for 100 times, but whenever he entered done, it's stopped. So I will assume that the user will enter only numbers. So I will do like while first I will put sum equals 0 because I want to sum numbers, while true, and this one should be capital because I want it to run forever, but not really forever except if I have done. So I have number equal input, enter number. And then after I want to enter number, I need to check if the number is done. Otherwise, if like I click it now, my laptop will freeze because it will be a forever loop. I'm not testing if done exists. So if that number, that input is done, break. What break will do, it will stop the while loop. So close that room, go to the bigger room and proceed. And here, if it is not done, I want to continue with sum. So I want to add to the sum the number, and remember the number is string. So I will put it float. I will allow like decimals. So by this one and print sum at the end. So let's try. I put 1, 1.2, 2, done. So here what it did, first it entered while loop because it's true. First number is 1. It's not done, so it will not enter this if. Sum equals sum, so sum equals 0 plus new number, which is 1. So sum now is 1. For 1.2, same. Here it will be 1 plus 1.2. So it will be 2.2. Same for 2. Then when it enter done here, it will check, okay, now it's done. So break, close this block, all the room for a while, and go into print. Because print here is not same level of indentation like those, so it's not same room. It's in the big room, and it will print some. I will show you why we need, and now we will check if it is number, and I will show you why we really need to check if it is number or not. So for example, I enter Bob. It will complain because I have here float. It will say like, I don't know how to convert Bob to number. Here you need to catch errors. It's a bit complicated, but you need to do it, otherwise your code will stop. So what we can have, we can do a try and put this one inside it. So and we have here except continue. Okay, so what I'm saying here, try doing this one. Try doing float number. And if it is giving error, go to this one. So as if you are saying like, if error, go to except. In except we do continue. Continue will not close the loop of while. It will be like you are playing a game. Whenever you are losing, you are going to the first level. So as if when I enter while, I'm walking on from the door, steps by steps. But when continue, I am returning to that door. So by continue, I'm returning to ask user, what's the number? And then I can like run it now. And here, like I put a try and except after if, otherwise it also will not work. It will be forever because here it will detect done will not be float. It will detect it as error. So it will go into while and ask about number again. So although you may enter done for 10 times, it will say like, okay, it's giving error, it's continue. But I want to break before. I want to check number. If it is done, it's the only allowed string. So do it. So here, let's check Bob. It will not consider Bob. So sum is still 0, 1, 2, another like Julia, 3, done. So I'm expecting 6 for sum. And okay, so it waited a bit. So it returns a value and it ignored the strings because it's error. I know that this topic of try and except is a bit complicated. So if you have any question, if you want to try more exercise, please let me know. And usually I don't do try and except. I usually do if statements more. Like here I can do like if instance, which is, or if type of number equal string. I can say str. I can say like do it again, but try and except is more used for catching errors, and it's also avoiding a lot of conditions. So do we have any question before going back into the slides? Okay, so I will continue. Now I am going to the last slide. Then I will go into only coding. So we have functions, which means you don't need to repeat yourself. For example, if I have to calculate square for different numbers. So one option will be like x equal 1, square of x equal x times x, print that value. Also for y, or also for z, also for w. I'm not sure how much. So you don't want to repeat that same concept, like multiplying the value together, printing it. So you use functions. It's almost like the idea of loops, like to avoid repeating. But for functions, it's more you can change for values, and it's for not to repeat yourself, not as repetitive code. So I will go into mathematics again. So, you know, like we thought about f of x equal x plus 1, which is the simplest one as functions. In Python, you use def as definition for function. If you want to start function, you need to do def f of x. F can be changed because it's the function name. You can name it any, but also make sure to name it good names as variables. And you have x, which is argument. You are allowed to do function without arguments, but you are assuming that if it is without arguments, you are assuming that the code will work to any. It's not changeable. If you do argument, you are saying, okay, change the output of the function according to that argument. And it can be x, comma y. It can be many arguments, not only one. And here, like when I say return x plus 1, it will look like f of x, return x plus 1. So when you call it, like you say f of 1, it will see like, okay, x now is 1. So return 1 plus 1, which is 2. So now we will go into coding. I will go into functions coding, some plotting, dictionary, simple data frame, and another plotting. But if you need any more practice, any other example about any concept in Python, please also let me know. So now, okay, so I will go into the function first. So I will not exchange, I will say the same of the squares. So for squares, like we have 1, a square of x equal x times x, print square of x. And imagine this one, you need to do it for 10 elements, which means 30 lines. Instead, you can do a def of, I would say, square item of x, or you can name it any item, for example. Okay, so first I need to calculate the square of it and print it. What I can do just printing, not x, sorry. So here I define the function. It's not like if or for loop you need variable before. You can define the function and keep it. But you cannot like do function, like for example, I cannot here, okay, so I cannot here call that function before creating it. It will not work. You should create the function, then you are allowed to call it. So here, like if I say square item of x or 1, it will calculate it and it will print it. Like function is not also one line. You can like here, I was allowed to add like square equal x times x, print items times item, print square. Also, I can do return. So if I do here return, like this one will print, but if you do it value equal square item. So the importance of return is that any value you are returning, you are doing it as data value. So here I have value, which is variable name, equal the result of the function, which will be saved and will be same type of the return. So here I have it as, for example, int, it will be int. If it is, sometimes it is data frame, this set. Sometimes it is list. So you can use it. for functions, I always use it to avoid like big coding, but you can also like avoid it. Okay, so I have a question. Are there... And yes, you have many pre-written functions, and like for Python, you have many libraries. That's why like for functions, it depends on your problem. When I was first beginner in Python, I never used functions because it's always in Python. For example, when I did now the for loop for largest, also in Python we have max, which is a function. So if I put it that, I don't remember what was in the list, but if I put it like this, I don't need to do for loop. I only need to do maximum, and it will give me also for minimum, for length. But sometimes you need to do your own functions. But we have many inbuilt. We have many online examples. Sometimes, like if I am stuck with functions, I go to Google and I search for that function. I try it. If it worked, like it worked. If not, sometimes like I need to check myself. So now I will go into plotting because I don't want only you to know like concepts behind Python. I want you to only like to also see how Python like plotting in R and Python is so useful. So I already wrote that example before. So I will start one by one. First, we have libraries. As I said, like we have packages, we have libraries in Python. So I will go into libraries I need to do for plotting, which is matplotlib. And I want to name it as PLT. Otherwise, you will need like each time you want to use it, you should put matplotlib.plot. It's complex. So I name it as plot. I use also another package which is NumPy. It's used a lot for numeric numbers, and it's like I usually use it for example, if I want square, if I want power, and other like numeric operations. So it's so useful. So for preparing data, I have two examples. Some people, if you want like number from 0 to 10, excluding 10, they do like x for x in range 10. So here it will be first iteration, it will be like 0. Second iteration, it will be 0, 1. So it's doing for loop inside and assign x to the list. It's adding to the list. Another option, it's like you can simply put range 10, which will be 0 to 9 list. So try not to have your life complicated because coding is a bit complicated. So try simplest one. And here I use NumPy to have a variable b as the square of variable a. I can do it by for loop. I can do it by function, by going into one by one element and doing square root. But why I should be complicated? Like it's already there's the function. And then for matplotlib part, you need to have to call a package dot plot. You need to assign it like we have dot plot, dot bar. We have different plotting. So plot it will be only like that line or curve. And you have A, which is the x-axis, B, which is y-axis. Those which I put are extra features. If you want to put a label for your axis, you need to use like that package dot x label and the name. Like I can here put A axis, B axis, or any, because like I'm assuming like in your work or in your university, you need to label your axis. Otherwise, it will not be so clear for readers. Also, title, because I heard a lot from supervisors or teachers, like they want title for the graphs. So for matplot, you only need to put like dot title and the title you want. At the end, so if we ignore those features, extra features, you only need plot and show. Show to show your image, because in plot you already like plotting, but you need to show it, otherwise it's useless. So if you do run, it will plot. So I have here the labels I put, the title, and it plots directly. And make sure that the x-axis and y-axis are same length. You cannot put a list of 10 items with a list of 11. It will say like they don't have same lengths. I cannot work on it. Now going from plotting to another plot, but like I will go a bit in depth for data frame, especially if you want to use it. Maybe you want to avoid Excel, or if you want to use it for data science. So for example, here, I have another package which is pandas. It's used to work with data frame. Data frame is like a table in Excel, if you can imagine it, but you want to create it like as variable. I have cars as dictionary, and I said before, a dictionary like has keys, brand price, and has values. Here we have values as list. So brand, for brand, I save list of brand names. Price, I save list of brand names. For data frame, what I can do, like first I can create it empty, but now I want to create it using that dictionary. So what I do, I call pandas as a package .data frame. This will allow me to create, like it's a constructor of data frame. I put cars, which is the dictionary. With columns, I name it. It doesn't mean that you have to put it as the keys of the dictionary. So here, like I can put brands or brand name as column name. So this part doesn't have anything to do with the dictionary keys, but it's better like to name it natural one. And cars is the data. So here we have first column and we have the second column, because each key is a column. And we want to print the data frame, so it will be shown as this one. Another method you can print the data frame is to do df.head, which will print the first 5, but here like I have 4 elements, but usually if I have big ones, it will print the first 5. Also, you can put like in parentheses 10, it will print first 10. Also, we have tail, which is it will print the last 5. So I needed to print the data frame, and it's more beautiful than print. Okay, so I have it here. Also, tail will be same, so I will ignore this part. Okay, so one also as a checking for errors, because sometimes when I am calling a column, it's showing like that column is not found, and like how it's shown. Assuming we have space next to the price, you will not know. Like you will not know from only looking. So you need to print the data frame column's name. And to do so, you do like df.columns. And when you see like it use those, so it will be obvious if you have space before and after. And this one like shows I can use it. Also, I want to make sure of that type, because as a data type, as I said before, it's so important. So here it's sure string, but here I'm not sure if it is int or string. We said before we use a type for one value, but on data frame, because it is list, it's a whole column, what I can do, I can say df, which is the data frame, dot price, which is column. So if you want to call column, sorry, I will add code. You can say like this one. You can open square parentheses and say price, and it will be printed. But simplest one can be like only put dot price, and it will also print it. And when you print it, you can see that D type, which is it. But if you don't want to print it and you want to make sure of the type, you put the df, the column. So here you are accessing this column, and you are briefing dot D types. And when you run it, it will give it. And now I want to plot it, but if you can imagine, like I have brands and price, so I don't need that line or curve. I need bar plotting. So the only difference between the previous plotting and bar plotting is that this one. There I put plot, here I put bar, but also like I put X and Y. This one is the first column, this one is the second column, and I do show, and this one will work. Also, it's so easy to add labels. It's only like argument here, you add labels next to here, colors also. So for Python, it's so useful for, especially for plotting, analysis of data sets, because like I don't want to go in depth, but like I can use it to calculate medium. I can use it like here, I can use it to calculate the biggest price and the smallest price. So it depends also in your problems. So for now, I finished my exercises. For me, I will send you the exercises, the coding, the recording, the slides. Also, I will send you some more exercises. Some of them will be a bit advanced, like I would send a real data frame with documentation how to read from that data frame, so you can practice. And you can ask me questions for sure. So now please let me know if you have any questions about what we explained. And also if you have any problem, any exercise you want to solve by coding or you want to practice now. And you can unmute yourself because it's sounds.
Hello, Vedad, again. I have a question. So in architectural design, we use a lot of visual programming software like Dynamo or Grasshopper. Does Python, is it possible to do you know if it's possible to use Python to sort of configure things in this? So my question is maybe more generic. So every software, design software has an API, if I understand well. So Python, you can use Python in the API to do things from the base. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Now I understand now why it's so important, and I want to get to know more about it. Thank you.
Yes. Like for me, I usually use Dash because I'm not so good in Tableau, but Dash is so useful. Also, like you have some interactive plotting, you don't need Dash. You only have like put those packages and plot it. So here, like, okay, now if I look into any bar, I cannot like get more info, but some interactive packages, you can visualize, like for example, maps, you can get more info when you click. So it depends what you need. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I understand sort of what you are suggesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm assuming there's no question. It was silent. But if you have any question, like, or after I send you exercises and the coding parts, maybe you will get some questions, please let me know. Thank you for attending and staying like for hour and a half. I know how it is confusing a bit. And the materials, yeah, you will have the recording, slides, exercises. I will send you some CSV files for data frames because, like, as assumed, I will not explain some complicated parts, but I will send you documentation like why we use those functions for data frames and also for plotting. So thank you for attending. You can expect an email from me today or tomorrow with the details. And I wish you a nice weekdays. I'm not sure if you are working remotely or studying remotely. So thank you guys and good luck.